Design homies, here's how to easily incorporate 3D models into your design work using Adobe Photoshop Beta and Substance 3D Viewer Beta. If you've ever wanted to add 3D elements into your design work, I'm partnering with Adobe Photoshop to put you on game. Stick around and I'll show you the easiest way to do it. Let's get into it. Substance 3D Viewer is a standalone program that works with Adobe Photoshop to help you integrate those 3D models. First, we'll need to install Photoshop Beta and Substance 3D Viewer. You can find both of these in the beta section on Creative Cloud. You'll want to open Creative Cloud, and after that, click on the beta section. Here, you'll find all of Adobe's beta applications. For this tutorial, we're just going to need Photoshop Beta and Substance 3D Viewer. If you already have these installed, make sure to check for updates to ensure you're on the latest version for both of these applications. While we wait on those to install, let's check out some 3D models. We'll need something to work with, and a great place to start is the free Adobe Stock library. Here you can find a bunch of 3D pre-made elements that are free to use within your projects. If you already have an Adobe Stock subscription, you can check out the 3D assets section where there's more than enough to choose from. You can find things like musical instruments, packaging, and even this cool gladiator mask. And for those subscribed to the Adobe Substance 3D collection, you get access to the Substance 3D assets library, where you can get a little more granular in terms of what we want to search for. You can also download materials to use on those 3D models, which is extremely helpful if you're not familiar with how to make your own textures. These are both great resources for finding existing 3D models that we can utilize for our graphic design projects. For this design, I want to make a poster, so I'm going to go with that cool gladiator mask we saw earlier from the Adobe Stock library. After we've downloaded our assets, let's jump into Photoshop Beta, where I'm going to show you how to upload your 3D elements and utilize Substance 3D Viewer to tweak things like color, lighting, and texture. Alright, now let's get into the fun part, bringing your 3D model into Photoshop, which prior to Substance 3D Viewer, you haven't been able to do this before, so this is all new. The process is super simple. Just drag your 3D file into Photoshop and it'll automatically show up as a smart object. To make adjustments to the model, let's double click on the smart object icon. This will open the model in Substance 3D Viewer. Here, we can start tweaking the texture, lighting, and positioning of the object. Now that we've got the model in Substance 3D Viewer, let's start making some adjustments. With the Appearance tab selected, if we click on our object, we can start editing the texture. I'm going to start by lowering the roughness and increasing the metallic values. This is going to give it that glossy, reflective look, and I want to make that a little more dramatic. If you're working with something like packaging, a matte finish might work better. In that case, I'd increase the roughness, making the surface scatter the lighting so that it looks a little more natural. But you can play around with the values to see how much of a difference it makes. We can also turn on ray tracing, which will give us a live render so that we can see our updates in real time. This will give us a better idea of what the end result will look like once we bring everything over into Photoshop. To adjust the position and rotation of the model, if you're using a mouse with a scroll wheel, you can use your right click to orbit the object, click on the mouse wheel to pan, or scroll on the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. If you don't have a mouse with a scroll wheel, you can use the tooltip and the bottom left corner of the viewport to adjust your mouse type. This will show you how to orbit, pan, and dolly based on whatever you're using. Now on my poster, I want the 3D object to be front and center, taking up majority of the real estate within our design. So it might be cool to place this at an angle to make things look a little more dynamic. Now that we're done with the texture and positioning, let's talk about lighting. Substance 3D Viewer makes it super easy to play around with your lighting setup. Let's head over to the Environment tab. Here we can adjust the brightness and rotation of our light. You can also enable ground reflections, which can be really useful for product shots. They also have some additional post-processing features here, like denoise, which can smoothen your renders to make things look a little less grainy. They also have bloom effects for if you want to give your renders that added subtle glow. Also, if you don't like the standard studio lighting, you can upload your own lighting presets here, which you can find some great alternatives within the free Adobe Stock library and the Substance 3D Viewer library. Once you're happy with the adjustments, it's time to bring everything back over into Photoshop. With Substance 3D Viewer open, click the To Photoshop button. This will update everything automatically over in Adobe Photoshop. And now we can start working on our composition. This is going to be a music poster, so let's add in the title for our event. Let's choose a typeface. I'm a sans serif guy myself, so I'm going to lean more towards a nice, chiseled, bold sans serif typeface. So let's see what we can find here. Ooh, that one looks nice. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I like where this is headed. Maybe I'll play with some texture and get some sort of like grunge effect over our text there. Ooh, I like that. That looks nice. That's looking good. That's That's looking really good. All right, now that we have our title squared away, maybe we'll add in a date, a location, and any other information that we're gonna wanna use for this poster. And I think I'm going to place that information somewhere at the bottom of the page, just so we have a clear hierarchy here. And that's looking really good. I'm liking the way that looks. And maybe I'll just drop in some additional elements just to fill out the composition here. All right, let's move this here, move that over there. Let's play around with this threshold effect. Adding a gradient map to this could also be cool. Ooh, that looks nice. I like that. Okay, that looks really cool. I like that. Let's add some texture, make some final tweaks and adjustments here, and there we go. This is looking pretty solid. Today we learned how to import 3D models into Adobe Photoshop Beta, edit them using Substance 3D Viewer, how to adjust the texture of our models, and how to adjust the position and lighting to make things look a little more dynamic. We covered a lot. I hope this tutorial has been helpful, and as always, if you like videos like this, follow along for more graphic design related content. Peace.